This is 7th grade, Module 1, Topic 2, Lesson 1. In this activity, you are going to analyze recipes by comparing ratios and then their unit rate ratios with fractions. You will also use the content and fractional unit rates to complete both a table and a graph. The graph, is then going to be used to answer questions related to the situation. Go ahead and pause here and read the activity description. As you just read, there are 4 students making the same kind of punch but different ways. You're now going to either work on your own or with a partner to analyze this data and answer questions 1 and 2. Question number 1 says, which recipe has the strongest taste of lemon lime? Show your work and explain your reasoning. And question 2 says, which one has the weakest taste of lemon lime? Show your work and explain your reasoning. Pause here. Now, before I show you my answers and all of the work, I need you to understand what's happening here. These students are making a punch similar to making Kool-Aid. So if you've got a Kool-Aid packet and you've got a gallon of water, well, the more packets that you put in, the stronger the taste is going to be. This is the same thing. The more lemon lime concentrate you put in compared to the amount of club soda, then the stronger that flavor is going to be. Now, you could have compared your answers or you could have compared your ratios 2 different ways. You could have compared using a part to part comparison or a part to whole comparison. And if you look closely, I've kind of highlighted that for you in blue and in purple. So for number 1, Mason's recipe, he has 4 cups of lemon lime concentrate to 8 cups of club soda. I also modeled it and what that would look like. So you could have compared 4 to 8 because there are 4 cups of lemon lime concentrate to 8 cups of club soda, or you can compare it part to whole, which would look like 4 cups of lemon lime concentrate out of 12 total cups because 8 plus 4 gives you 12. When you simplify those fractions, you would get 1/2 and 1/3. Now, the fractions you see are 1/2 and 1/3. However, they represent the same recipe. The only difference is how you compared it, part to part or part to whole. Now, if you haven't already, choose one method and compare all of the recipes to answer questions 1 and 2. Pause here. And here are my completed annotations. Now, I did both ways, part to part and part to whole, but in the black boxes, you can see I compared using the part to part ratio. That was just easier for me personally. So for number 1, you should have gotten Carlos has the strongest taste of lemon lime. Okay, because that ratio was, or that fraction was 2/3. I know 2/3 is greater than 1/2, greater than 3/5, and also greater than 1/4. And for number 2, which has the weakest? That was Zeb. Zeb has the weakest. That ratio was 1/4 when I compared it part to part. Now, before moving on to the next question, I want you to think about this. The person that has the most lemon lime concentrate, do they automatically have the strongest taste of lemon lime? Think about that. Pause here. Now for question 3. It says, compare Julio's and Emily's strategies. In what ways are they different? How did they arrive at the same answer? So above you have Emily and Julio that compared Mason and Tyler's recipe different ways. Answer that question either with a partner or on your own. Pause here. Now for number 3. You should have gotten Emily compared recipes part to part, meaning lemon lime concentrate to club soda, and Julio compared recipes part to whole, meaning lemon lime concentrate to the total amount of punch. They arrive at the same answer because no matter or either way that you do it, the ratio will still be the same. As you can see, they both came to the conclusion that Tyler's recipe had the stronger taste of lemon lime. Before moving on, I want you to think, how did Emily know that 3/5 was greater than 1/2? And how did Julio know that 3/8 was greater than 1/3? Think about that before moving on. Pause here. Question number 4. It reads, complete each table and include the unit rate of lemon lime for each cup of punch for each recipe. Then draw a graph for each recipe on the coordinate plane. Label each graph with the person's recipe and the unit rate. Here's a helpful hint. I suggest using the part to whole ratio to find out how much lemon lime concentrate there is per 1 cup of punch. Here's an example. Looking at Mason's recipe, I can see that there are 4 cups of lemon lime concentrate out of 12 total cups. That can then be simplified to show that there is 1/3 cup of lemon lime concentrate for 1 cup of punch. Using that ratio, I can then determine that, well, if I have 3 cups of lemon lime concentrate, I can make 3 cups of punch. If I have 2 cups of lemon lime concentrate, I can make 6 cups of punch, and so forth. Now, using the information given to you earlier in this activity, go ahead and complete the table for Tyler, Zeb, and Carlos's recipe, and then also graph. Remember, as you are plotting your points and graphing, remember to connect the dots and label each line. If the ratios are correct and consistent, your points should form a straight line. Pause here. Now here are my filled in tables and also my completed graph. Now if your graph isn't perfect, don't worry, mine isn't either. In a second, I'm going to show you a better representation. And also remember, it's okay if you got different values in your table as long as the ratio stayed the same. Now I want to show you a better example. You can pause here if you'd like to take a closer look. What this shows is what your graph should have looked like, labeled, and you can clearly see each person and their ratio. And when I say ratio, I mean the unit rate of lemon lime concentrate for each cup of punch. If you want, you can use this to help you answer questions 5 and 6 if you haven't already. We're now answering questions 5 and 6. Number 5 says, what does the steepness of each line represent? For that, you could have put, the steepness of each line represents the amount of lemon lime concentrate per each cup of punch. Also, on your page, as you can see, it tells you the steepness of a graphed line is called its slope. That is going to be important to know later. But also with question number 5, you can conclude that the steeper the line, the more lemon lime concentrate per cup. Question 6, how could you use the graphs to determine which recipe has the strongest lemon lime tastes? For that, you could have answered by looking for the steepest slope or the steepest line. And that concludes this activity. In summary, ratios and unit rate ratios with fractions can apply to real-world problem situations. And tables and graphs can be used to compare unit rates and interpret real-world problem situations. Awesome job today.